what we see as a crisis is actually an opportunity for, better health, wealth, and everything else. So it's not like a need to despair or worry. It's, I mean, if you understand where you are and and have an understanding of the pathway forward, you can benefit no matter what time it is, even the worst of crisis or the best of times. You can still benefit and move forward and have a happy, useful life.
Hey guys, Josh Lake here with the Pebbleton Post, joined today by Mr. Ken Swartz of C60 Purple Power. He is the Chief Science Officer and co-founder of one of the best C60 brands, if not the best C60 product on the market. And just to give some context, him and I have been doing a lot of work when I was with the Road to Ruta, and just in that time, I've seen so much of what Ken is proficient at and an expert at when it comes to health, when it comes to science, and also his knowledge on a lot of the big topics that we love to cover here on the show. And we're going to dive into all that today. But before we do that, Ken, man, thanks for coming on. How you doing?
Oh, glad to be on your new podcast.
Yeah, and with some of this, with this new effort that we're putting out, health is one of the main topics that we love to cover, because as much as we like to talk about the other things like wealth and freedom, if you don't have your health, you don't have the power to do anything. And so one of the things that we really love about Ken is that you are pretty much one of the most professional people in the health industry that I've ever met, one of the smartest guys I've ever met. And your product, C60 Purple Power, is just, there's so much to go into about how it can help in so many different facets of life and of your health. And so, would love to talk to you a little bit, just with your background, how you got into the field of C60, and just, your incredible life's work, because I know it's plentiful. So if you could just let the audience know who you are and what you do.
Yeah, I'm Ken Swartz. I'm I'm a research scientist that, but research scientist is itinerant. So I kind of tell you that now I have the company, which I founded, which is C60 Purple Power, but now it's Shop C60. That's the website. We've kind of gone and expanded. And it kind of, what had happened basically for me is I was working on what is a metal oxygen fusion reactor project. Actually, if you probably want to look at it, it's called, if you just type in MOXY, MOXY, fusion, and then have ResearchGate, you can actually go see the PDF that's on the paper that we have. So just write MOXY, MOXY.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's not MOXY, and then fusion, and then put ResearchGate.
All right.
And that should click right to it. PDF. Yep, there it is, right there. So that's what I was working on. But and one of the things with the problem with is MOXY fusion was a lot of the scientists. It was like the late Dr. this and the dead Professor that, and I didn't want to end up, in that category. And certainly I had some people that I was, because I was running the project, I had, people working for me, and I didn't want them to, and they had families. So I went out looking for something to help protect from the radiation, because this is research. We don't really know what we're doing. I mean, that's what research is. And so, so I discovered this stuff called carbon-60. What it is, it's carbon-60. It's a little molecule carbon shaped exactly like a soccer ball. It has 60 carbon atoms. And so imagine just a little hollow soccer ball of carbon. And they did one research, experiment where they gave, one set of rats got C60, the other set of rats didn't. They hit them with a multiple fatal dose of radiation. Pretty much all the C60 rats live, where the control rats, of course, immediately died from the radiation. And so when I learned about that, I said, that's the stuff for me. So I got a couple sources of this, and we were taking it during the experiment. And by the way, we're all still around. But when I kept taking it after the experiment was over, I kept doing C60, because I think like the afternoon blahs you get in the, after you do lunch kind of went away, and I just had a little bit more energy. I have a few little gray hairs there. So, you need anything you can to help on that. And what really was that I went 7 months later, I went to my eye doctor, and my DRUs, or dry macular degeneration, had completely disappeared. And he'd never seen that happen in his many years of, being an optometrist. So that was pretty good. Of course, being a scientist, one event is just a fluke, right? you can't really back on it. But in the meantime, Gary Rodriguez, he was my electrical engineer on the project. And of course, Rodriguez, type 2 diabetes, he had developed severe wet macular degeneration. We used to be able to post the pictures, before and after pictures of the inside of his eyeball. But, three-letter agency says that's making a claim, so we can't. But he used a tablespoon of C60 and MCT oil, and for a year, and his wet macular degeneration completely went away.
Wow.
Along with his type 2 diabetes, it went into subclinical. He's still got to watch his blood sugar. And that's one thing I want to talk about. C60 is not a magic pill. What C60 does, it lifts the oxidative burden your cells are under so they can function normally. Because it's your cells which are really bring healing. There is no such thing as a magic pill. And C60 is really just one tool in the toolkit for good health. But it doesn't replace good nutrition, organic food, or exercise, or sleep, or avoiding bad lifestyle habits, which some of the younger generation does on occasion, and things like those all kind of go together on the pathway to good health. But C60, in its specific thing that it is an important part of that.
Absolutely. And I personally have been taking the C60 that your company offers for such a long time now, and I see it in so many ways. I see it in my own cognitive health. I see it in my athletic performance. I've seen it in other ways too that I didn't expect, like topically for skin. I find that it does help with not only just regeneration, but it, I don't have many wrinkles, but I believe that I've seen from the other studies that you guys have done that it's really good for your skin and your hair.
Oh yeah, that was actually the first human studies that were done on C60, and one was for a cream. It was in Japan. So they found that C60 applied topically in their cream reduced fine lines and wrinkles in Japanese women.
Wow.
And then they did another one where they rubbed it on hair, and it found that C60 increases hair growth.
Nice.
And it seems to, for me, it slows the progression of male pattern baldness. Will not get rid of it, guys. Sorry on that one, but but if you're losing hair for other reasons, C60 definitely, because it can definitely bring that. So a lot of women that have problems with hair loss for a variety of reasons, obviously not male pattern baldness, C60 has been found pretty effective with them.
That's great. And with it being a tool in your health, it sounds like it's really like a multi-tool because it attacks from so many different angles. I know that it's incredible for reducing your free radicals in your body. Like you said, the oxidative stress, it's really one of the most powerful antioxidants. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's kind of what unique, and in fact, it's the only antioxidant which can increase athletic performance. And there's things like vitamin C, vitamin E. They won't do it because when you take too much of those, it starts interfering with the body's signaling molecules. C60 really goes after the two most damaging oxidative radicals in the body. One is and what's an oxidative damage, right? It's oxidation, it's rusting, right? Yes. Your body is rusting. It's punching holes in your cell membrane, it's tearing up your DNA, it's damaging proteins, okay? That's what's going on. That's like if you work out really hard and you're sore, soreness is from the damage. So the two most damaging oxidative radicals in the body are superoxide. That's an oxygen with an extra electron. So if you imagine rusting, that's the stuff that'll do it. And then the other is the hydroxyl ion, which is basically a water molecule with one of the protons left. So it's just got its OH with a little loose electron in there. And C60 kind of, what it does, it likes to take a positive charge, but it does that. It's unique. That's why it's got a Nobel Prize. It takes actually, most molecules, I'm getting a little sciencey on you, get to be positive charged by letting an electron into the environment, right? And then they have one less electron. C60 does it by pulling, I don't know if you can see this, we just have the model, pulling hydrogen ions, which are positively charged from the outside environment and storing it inside its cage-like structure.
Okay.
That's totally unique in chemistry, nothing at all like it. And so what happens is C60 becomes positively charged, and superoxide, the most damaging oxidative radical in the body, of course, with an extra electron, is attracted to it. And then C60 just transfers that electron to one of these hydrogen ions, turning it into hydrogen gas, and then it goes back to being an oxygen. And then also with the hydroxyl ion, it's negatively charged. It sticks to the OH ion. It'll stick to the C60 molecule. It releases one of those hydrogen ions, turns it back into water.
Oh,
so
wow.
that allows C60 to reset itself again and again and again and again without involving the body's chemistry. There's a lot of things like glutathione, SOD, CoQ10. They'll combine with an oxidative radical and they get bound up. Then the body's got to get some enzymes and some ATP and then reset them. That takes extra energy. C60 doesn't do that. And one of the things, the key thing that why C60 is the only antioxidant that can increase athletic performance is it doesn't interfere with the body's signaling molecules. OH and the superoxide, they're so damaging the body doesn't use them for signaling molecules. But things like vitamins D and vitamin E and C will interfere with some of them, like for instance the nitric oxides.
Okay.
It's a vasodilator, guys. You need a balanced nitric oxide. You don't want to mess with that. Also the hydrogen peroxide, and there's some other oxidative radicals the body uses for signaling molecules. They're based around sulfur, iron, and zinc. They're kind of like lower energy ones for specific tasks. And so, like vitamin E, vitamin C, D, if you take too much of that, they'll interfere with those. C60 doesn't interfere at all with any of that. In fact, I told you the story. The first basic study they did was in the early 2000s. It was called the Battery study, as named after one of the scientists in it. And it basically increased the lifespan of animals test animals, Worcester rats, by 90%. And that kind of set off the whole research craze on C60. And there's the radiation one. There's things about arthritis. We'll probably get into some of those.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of it's the key that it is. I mean, and Worcester rats, they're kind of wimpy rats. They usually die of cancers and other diseases associated with aging. But when the ones took it, they completely prevented cancers, the occurrence of cancers, cognitive decline, and all of those diseases associated with aging, which is good, and I started doing C60, I had a few gray hairs, but, and that's like the rats, they got the rats in their late 20s, right? And they started giving them C60. So they just basically lived like a super long rat lifetime until they hit the expiration date, but they lived a long, healthy life. So if some of your younger listeners out there, the best thing is prevention. The old saying, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Well, that's really important. And that's really what C60 has done, at least in the scientific studies like that. You just, if you fix the problem before it happens, then that's really the very best way to go.
And not only, one of the things we like to say, and that also one of your mantras is that even if you have all the wealth in the world, if you don't have your health, there's nothing you can do. And so it's not just an investment in your health, but in your entire life, and something that if you can get started right away, you're going to be seeing the results now and continued throughout the time that you're here. And so definitely support that. Definitely make sure that if you're serious about your health, this is one of the things that you need to be considering, because it does so much, and we haven't even covered all the things that it does. I know that it's good for your stem cells. I know it's good for your mitochondria. I know it's even good for things like your libido. So, it really is such a multifaceted tool in your tool belt.
Yeah, well, it keeps the edge. A lot of times when you get into your 30s, pushing the 40s there, you start getting, you're in a competitive business environment maybe, or wherever, where you're working with your hands or something, and it kind of gets, you get a little tired. C60 kind of brings back the age because it increases energy, mental clarity. It's just, it just takes it back. And there's a whole bunch of things. One of the things C60 does, it's in your cells. In the cells, there's a thing called mitochondria. They're like little organelles in your cells, and they make ATP, which is the energy molecule for almost all your biological activities. Right. And so C60 is what they call an SOD catalase mimic. And your mitochondria, they're little powerhouses, right? So they make pollution. And one of the pollutions they make is superoxide and a few hydroxyl ions. So when C60 gets in there, it replaces. As we get older, the SOD levels go down in your body. So C60 gets in there, replaces the missing ones. So that kind of brings your mitochondria function back to level. And then, so now you get the energy back when you were younger. And, for the gray hair crowd, we really notice it, but for the younger crowd, if you go out to the gym and you work out, you know your levels and how much you can lift or long run or whatever. When you take C60, you'll be able to beat those levels. That's because you'll lift longer, you'll run farther. It slows down lactic acid buildup, so you can do more reps. So your competitors at the gym will definitely know something's up, because
that's definitely where I've noticed it the most too, is in my physical performance. Because when I was taking C60 for a long time, I felt that same kind of strength and endurance in the gym. And then when I would run out of the product, I would start to lose it a little bit, or not even lose it, but it wouldn't be quite as, like you said, the edge wasn't as there as much. And so, I really love that you guys have so many different ways of that C60 can come into your body.
Yeah, we should talk about that. Of course, traditionally when the first C60 market was out there, all they had was C60 in like olive oil because some of the
Yeah.
scientists had done that. There were just a couple producers. And so I learned how to make it myself because, if I took an ounce of olive oil, right, I might have to go visit the bathroom and,
Yeah.
I kind of wasted the C60. C60, by the way, is more expensive. High purity C60 is more expensive by weight than gold.
Really?
And well, yeah. So what I did is I started putting it. Ooh, that's the green screen. Let me put it in front of me. So, well, there we go. It's the magic of green screen. Anyway, imagine that's olive oil, which is also
Yes.
green. It kind of vanishes in the green screen. So I put it in olive oil, which is like just as healthy as avocado oil. I mean, as olive. I may put it in avocado oil, which is just as healthy as olive oil, but it's much easier to digest. It doesn't have the bite, and the profile is super digestible. And then, as I mentioned before, and then I also put it in MCT coconut oil, and that's for my friend Gary, but also athletes like that because MCT, that stands for medium chain triglycerides, and your liver turns that into ketones instantly. So it's like if you take MCT oil, you're not breaking ketosis, right? So and he had like glucose processing issues. So when you're taking MCT oil and you have glucose processing issue, your cells can either run off the ketones or they can run off glucose. If they can't get a hold of the glucose, there's always ketones. So it's like flex fuel for your body. It's really important. And of course, athletes love it because it's a instant thing. In fact, we've had some athletes go from mid-pack to champions in their field, and they put a little of this in their water because it's still on top, and then they take it, so they get the MCT oil, they get the C60 and the water all at the same time, and they've gone from mid-pack to winners. I won't mention any names. And by the way, C60 is not banned or forbidden by any athletic organization. So
that's awesome to know as well. And I personally really like all your products. I've tried them all, and the MCT oil is my favorite. I mean, I know it comes in avocado and olive oil and MCT, and yes, just like that. And the gummies.
And now gummies. Yes, we have gummies. They're about we have one which is like regular gummies, about 3 grams of sugar per gummy, or whatever.
They're delicious.
And we have a sugar-free gummy which is coming out.
I saw that.
Already made. It's ready to go. We just put a few things up on the website so it's available. All that processing got to do. But one of the problems about gummies is they taste so good it's hard to eat one.
I agree, and I remember when I had those went very quickly because they're so tasty, and you get that full dose, which is I know some people it's a tablespoon, some people it's a teaspoon, right? That's about the average amount you're supposed to take.
Yeah, if I was say I was in my 30s, with my weight, I'm about 180. It might be like 2 teaspoons for somebody younger in their 30s, just a single teaspoon. But when you get gray hair, now it's a tablespoon or more.
Is there too much you can take?
No, that's what they did. They did a study. Because usually if you look at almost the science literature and what you'd be taking regularly, it's like 0.1 milligrams per kilogram of body weight or 0.2 milligrams. It's pretty low. So they had all these different things, like it got rid of arthritis, the radiation, double lifespan of test animals. So they decided at what level is C60 toxic. So they put it at 1 gram per kilogram of body weight.
Oh, wow.
That's 10,000 times the health beneficial dose. Now, if you did that with vitamin E, that'd be dead rat. But with C60, it had no toxic effects at all.
Wow.
The rats just kept giving. And the main thing is because it doesn't interfere with any of the body's signaling molecules, it's only taking care of superoxide and the hydroxyl ion, that so it didn't interfere with anything. Of course, at that level, you're not getting above a certain amount, you're not going to get any more benefit. But there's no toxicity. And it doesn't hang out in the body too long. Washes out in somewhere between 4 to 10 days. Different studies have said 4 days, other ones said 10 days. So it kind of hangs around. So if you miss a day or something, it's not a big deal. It's still there and doing its job.
That's good. And one of the things, because I know when I'm living on the go, I would start, my first product that I would take from you guys was the big, bottle of olive oil, and I would just pour it into a teaspoon or a tablespoon and just take it like that. And then I started, we were moving around a lot. We were on the road show with Bix, and that's actually where I met you, was at a Albuquerque show, and we got to do a little bit of work together there on the road now twice. And when we were on the road, I think one of the things that we really enjoyed using were your little packets of C60 as well, because these are travel. These are I think it's a whole tablespoon in here.
We kind of that's a good one. We've kind of discontinued that.
Oh, did you? Oh,
Yeah,
well, I
it
still have a
was
few.
okay, but now that we got these guys,
Even better. I
yeah,
like
because
those
one
ones
of the
more.
packets is sometimes you open them and it got a little stick messy, but with a gummy, you never have to worry about messy, and they taste so much better.
I
So
would say the gummies are probably my favorite of yours because they are so easy. They're on the go. They're tasty, and they're so good for your health. And those are just the ones that you can consume. There's also the topical ones that I know
oh
you
yeah,
guys have.
yes, we do have a roll-on thing
Yes,
for like things. We also have our C60 Sexy.
this one right here.
Yep,
Yep,
that's the edible massage oil for
yep.
or you could use it topically for other things too.
Right.
And
I actually like using that one as in massaging when I'm
yes,
sore. I need to like work on my muscles. I'll use that as the like lubricant on my body, and it does a really good job.
oh yeah, that it'll soak in there and get it, especially sometimes like on fingers and other
Hmm.
joints. It'll soak in and really help on that. And
Even when
I
I'm
want to talk
sunburned.
about, yeah, I thought maybe I'd talk about too, because one of the things you're probably familiar with this is when the C60 market was small, there was just a handful of producers. I was
Hmm.
one of them, and everybody pretty much made a quality product for their customers.
Hmm.
Well, because they used it themselves. It was family. It was like a small thing, right? And
Yep.
then C60 became popular.
Yes.
And then it's the same thing that happened in the CBD market. You get
Hmm.
all these fly-by-nighters, scammers out there that are selling, bogus C60 products. But there's basically three, maybe four things you should really look for in a C60 product.
Yeah.
And the first is where your C60 comes from. There's a thing called sublimated. And if you remember back to chemistry class, sublimation is when a solid turns into a gas, then back
Yes.
into a solid. It's like evaporation. So sublimation is like distillation, right? And
Hmm.
basically, they put the ashes in the sublimator, heat it to 400 degrees Celsius. The C60 turns into a gas, floats to the other sublimator where it condenses, and you get 99.99% C60 or 99.98% C6 pure C60. They get a really high purity C60, and that's what you want. You want to make sure it's sublimated, and that because there's another method of purifying C60 for industrial uses, and that uses methylbenzene,
Mm.
a known carcinogen, also known as toluene. And so if you see oven bake or ESS or supercharged, those are all using solvent-based C60s. And usually that they'll get like 99.5% C60. You're 99.9%. Well, that 0.1% is methylbenzene, which is a known carcinogen toxin, and you probably don't want to take in that because that's why you're taking a product anyway, to avoid that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
So let's just you want to make sure it's sublimated and 99.99% pure, just because sublimation and that kind of level of purity go together. And
Yeah.
then, of course, it's the oils you put it in. We kind of
Yes.
pick the Goldilocks of oils. There's some oils you don't want to ever eat. In fact, as a person, you should avoid that. Canola oil,
Hmm.
cottonseed oil,
Yeah. All the seed oils
corn
are my
oil,
favorite. Yeah.
sunflower oil. All of these oils are high in omega 6s and very low in omega 3s. I mean, they're great for birds, but they're bad for people. And
Mm.
so you should really just avoid seed oils. That's one of the reasons why obesity and all kinds of
Yes.
other health problems is from seed oils. And that can be in your fried foods, all that stuff on the outside of your fried foods. They're probably doing canola oil. And so we make sure we have the good ones. So which is olive oil. We've been the Mediterranean diet, right? It's been going on for thousands of years. Avocado oil and MCT coconut oil, and we have like pure coconut oil, and it's
Yeah.
all organic in our gummies. So everything's organic there. And then there's also the other side of the thing is like is good oils for you, like fish oil, krill oil, hemp seed oil, flaxseed oil. Those are oils that are really high in omega 3s, and they're really healthy for you. Only problem is they go rancid really quickly.
Mm.
In fact, that's something any of your listeners should do. Never buy a fish oil off the shelf in a health food store. You don't know how long it's been there. Chances are it's rancid. You want to buy your fish oil or your krill oil or your hemp seed oil or your flaxseed oil, buy it out of the refrigerated section of your health food store. That way you know that it's going to be not rancid, it's going to be healthy for you. So just a note there. So that's why we don't put it in those, because if we did it and we sent it to you, it'd probably go rancid, and rancid oil is bad for you. And then the other thing is there's only one way that C60 is useful for the body, and that's dissolved in an oil or
Mhm.
polyhydroxynated, right? It has to be dissolved. Particles of C60 have no benefit. You'll have people that are having C60 pills, right? Dry C60 pills or this other, or C60 dissolved in water, or all these other things, and those are total scams. Because your body cannot absorb particles of C60. It has to be dissolved in oil. It comes through your gut barrier into your body through that oil. And if you take particles of C60, they can't be absorbed, and they are irritating too. They can cause irritation. And they found in studies particles of C60. So it has to be dissolved C60. And part of that too is one of the things we do. We got this from the CBD industry, because when things went bad, we have a little QR code on our products. And you can go scan your phone on it, and you can go and see the certificates of analysis for our oils. So it's all organic avocado oil, or all organic olive oil, or organic MCT oil, or the organic oils for the gummies, right? You can see that. You can see the certificates of analysis for the C60. And then after we make our products, it goes to a third party, and they test for like microbiologics and C60 concentration factors. So Murphy Brown is the only laboratory in the world which can actually test for concentrations of C60 in a product. Okay. So interested. Thank you, Murphy Brown. They're a local company here. And so your product is safe and effective.
That's good.
And that's the same way we did this, because we got to hack that off the CBD industry. Because, one of the things people were doing is they're pouring all kinds of herbicides and pesticides, right, to keep the plants, and then it's getting into your oils. Well, you can't have that. So, we have a really good testing regime in Colorado, and they can go to parts per billion of stuff. So, bam, that's why, you want to make sure your product is safe and effective. Well, you can see the test results yourself, not just guess, test.
Yeah. And that's something I love about you guys, because I've actually taken other C60 products in the past that you could tell just the quality, just the look of it, the taste of it was so much. It was gross. It was not something I enjoyed. When I started the C60 journey, I was taking these cheaper brands, and it was just like, oh, I don't really know about this stuff. It's kind of rancid and gross. And then I started to take yours, and I was like, oh, this is night and day. This stuff is so much better. It tastes great. It looks great. You have all the science backed behind it, and such a good presence too. Of your team is amazing to work with, and just the information that you guys continually put out, not only on C60 but in health in general. You can tell that your entire organization does a really good job and has a really strong message of total health. And so that's something I really appreciate.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons I actually started doing the C60. It wasn't to make a company, just because I had bought some product like that. I had some good stuff out there, and then there's some I bought where the product had no C60 in it. It was a scammer, right? And so, because my eye health is really important, going blind sucks. So I found a way to make it myself. I figured it out, got it. So I can make my own product, and it was just for friends, family, and myself. And that's what I was originally making it for. And then I shared it with some of my alternative healthcare professionals, and they had great results. They shared it with their customers. And then I was like a C60 milkman driving around the Front Range, dropping off product. It was kind of like a side thing for the science stuff I was doing. But and then one day, Cliff High mentioned it with Sarah Westall.
Yes,
they both, by the way, have been kicked off of the standard places, and that really is the 100th Monkey event that kind of brought C60 to the awareness of the population.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're big names, and I know Cliff from just seeing him and listening to him. He is extremely conscious of health and knows all the best ways to do it. And when he can promote something like your product, it's that's one of the top tier things that you can do for your own body. And so if you're listening to this and you want any of the benefits that we're talking about, from your brain function, your athletic performance, if you want just general your body to be operating and optimized, if you want more antioxidants, if you want to eliminate free radicals, get your libido up, get your skin and nails even better, there's so many benefits. And so make sure you go check out C60 Purple Power, and do it with our link that I'll be having in the description of this video, and use our coupon code, which is Pebbleton10, which we're really excited to be announcing right now, because we've been doing work with you, Ken, with the Road to Ruta, and helped so many people there. And we're really happy to bring that same health to this platform here. And for you guys who are tuning in, we will have make sure to use the link below, and make sure to use the discount code below too, because it's a great way to get just a really kickstart of your health, and is an amazing product, an amazing company. So make sure you check that out.
Yeah, there's another place you can go to. It's called whatisc60.org.
Okay.
It's like one of those 503Cs that we help sponsor with some other, good C60 companies. And so you can go there because we can only talk about human studies, right? All the
Hmm.
animal studies we can't do there. So if you go to whatisc60.org, you can see the human studies, the animal studies, and the difference, because you can see like all the positive studies are ones with dissolved C60. If it's particles of C60, you're not getting any benefit. And there's a few industry hit pieces, but they can't do too much because they've also found if you ever read a lot of your medicines, you'll see HCl on the end of the medicine. That's
Okay.
hydrochloric acid, so that'll
Yeah.
pass through your digestive system. Well, they found that you can put ligands onto a lot of medicines and attach it to a C60 molecule, and that'll also pass it through the digestive system. So they have the big pharma has lots of patents on using C60 as an HLC substitute delivery method. So they really can't go after C60 too hard because then they'd be shooting themselves in the foot by wrecking their own patents on C60. So it's kind of in a good space there where they don't want to, because they would be damaging themselves. So, but you can't patent your C60, and the only way what we do is we could just make we get the highest quality C60 and make the purest best product we can, and that's what we're here for.
Well, I'm so glad that you're here to do it. And I personally have benefited so much from the work that you've done. And so if you guys listening want that same benefit, make sure you check out the link below, and make sure to use our link and our code, because that helps us and this channel continue to make the work that we do possible. So thank you so much for all that information, Ken. There's so much that you can learn from just listening to you. And so make sure to check out his YouTube channel as well, which I think is just C60 Purple Power on YouTube,
Yeah.
correct?
No, it's Shop C60 now. If you go to C60 Purple Power, it'll take it. But now it's called Shop C60 because
On
we
YouTube,
have a variety of products, and we're going to be also there's some other companies that make C60 products, and
Okay.
we'll probably be that we're never going to do. So we'll probably sponsor them or have them on our site as well.
That's great. That's awesome. So I love talking about all this because I do think that health is one of the things that is kind of in a space right now that needs to be discussed, because there's been a lot of things over the last couple of years that have really started this health crisis. And I mean,
I think this is part 2.
yes. So we're going to talk a little bit more about these specifics. And if you're tuning in here on YouTube, we're going to take it elsewhere. And so make sure you check out part 2 on our other platforms, where you can see a little bit more of the free flow, uncensored discussion. And so we're going to hop into that now, Ken. And that's one of the things I love talking to you about, is because you, not only are you you're so well-rounded in the health and sciences, you're also very up to date on all the things going on in our world. And I know you have a very good and strong opinion based on the evidence and based on your knowledge. And so that's something I'd like to pick your brain over right now. Especially
yeah, we're off the censor sites.
Yes. So now that we're here,
I guess what you're going to be on Rumble and
yes, Rumble, BitChute. We're going to be doing Patreon as well. This one I'm going to post just for free though, because this is important information everyone needs to know.
And so it support Rumble and BitChute. I mean, BitChute had a little bite there when they canceled their bank accounts, so I sent them some money too. So support your alternative voice spaces where people can talk about stuff that are banned everywhere else. So that's right. A hit for them, because that's I know how many people, pretty much all the people I know, have been kicked off of YouTube and those other Facebook and all those other places, and now they live on Rumble and BitChute and a few other places, and it's just that's the way it is.
That's why I call it a war. That's why I say that we're people fighting the good fight. That's why we say that we're light warriors, because once you are armed with this information, you realize you can't live the same way. At least I couldn't, because there's just such disgrace, such monstrosities happening to the human race that we are for the most part unaware of. And once you start to become aware of it, it got me so fired up that I had to do something. And that's why, I'm here talking to you. And that's why I'm continuing to push myself to learn about all these things, even though it's horrible and scary at times. You got to learn so you have the tools to fight the battle. And one of the main things is getting that information. Once you have that information, implementing it, whether that be with your health and your finances and your just like environment. I've learned a lot about just like protecting myself, a lot of the 2A and a lot of the stuff that you need to do to make sure that your body and your family are protected, because they're even coming after the family
Oh yeah,
in
they
overt or subvert ways,
oh yeah, they
and
want to steal your kids and put them in
yeah,
their system and do all kinds of nasty things to them. And
yeah,
financially, like VIX, and the whole
yep,
concept of silver. I mean,
yes,
basically, it's crypto, man. If you don't have it in your possession, you
mm-hmm,
don't have it. Because when push
yep,
comes to shove, that little plastic in your wallet might not work. That
mm-hmm,
money in the bank might not be there. So you need, you really need a reserve of several months cash, because
yes,
cash will be good for a while. But also like long-term savings, silver, that's huge. And then
that's
there's
right,
also, investment in property. That's
property,
income producing properties. That's most people don't know. Like real wealth, store of wealth. It's who's that one guy, Japanese guy that comes on. He's from Hawaii. He always talking about trying to.
who is he? Is not Robert Kiyosaki. Who are you
Yeah,
talking
that's the one. Yeah,
about? Okay, yeah,
he talks about basically what it is he's like a lot of people buy a house and then they sell it and move to a better house. Well, you buy a house and then you turn it in. When you move to another house, you finance that because that's somebody else's money. You're not paying taxes on it, and then you turn that one
mm-hmm,
into a rental. Now that becomes an income flow, and then you get
mm-hmm,
another one, and you get another one, and you get. That's all the people I know that have really good wealth. They've done that. Like instead of buying and selling, they just buy and buy and turn the other one into a rental, turn it, and the next thing you know, you've got, and so you're getting the capital gains off that, having that property, right?
mm-hmm,
And you're getting an income flow from the rental. And so by the time you get up to retirement age, you got millions of dollars in assets
yeah,
and the income flow. You might
yeah,
not even might just decide to retire in your 40s or something. I've seen people that do that because if you do it now, personally, I wouldn't buy property right now because we're going to go, they have a spike and now it's spiking back down. But when, it
mm-hmm,
balances out, I mean, income producing properties, they're really, you need to go study it because you can make
yes,
mistakes. But that's one way that wealth is accumulated because it's real physical assets, right? It's not like money in the bank. It's not some value of some stock that goes up and down, which
mm-hmm,
you've all seen happen. It's
yeah,
like a physical asset, and especially if you own it and stuff. Well, you never really own it; you don't pay taxes on it, but
right,
still, it's that whole process. Then that's one way. If you start young, if you're doing this, you're in your 20s and 30s. Then by the time you're in your 50s and 60s, you're going to be really sitting good because you learn those secrets of wealth. And that one guy, he talks about one way. There's other people. You need to kind of because what they taught you in school about wealth and how to build it or how money is total lies.
yeah,
Because they don't want you to know the secrets of wealth, how to get better off. I'm not
mm-hmm,
an expert in that. I'm doing okay, but I'm not an expert at that. I know things like silver, right? That's
mm-hmm,
physical, real. It's going to go up in value, and it can't disappear, right? It's
mm-hmm,
better than gold, I think, in the upside, and
yes,
because it's such an industrial metal, and
yes.
Moxie Fusion uses a lot of silver too. So just to let you know.
Yeah, no, I think that the wealth side that's one of the other pillars of the Pebbleton post that we really want to emphasize, is that you got to take control. Once you have your health all lined up, you got to make sure that your wealth is going to be the other thing that you need to take control of and take possession of, because they don't have the best interests at all. They're trying to, like you talked about, they have manipulated the way you save, the way you
Mhm.
pay your
Oh yeah.
taxes, the way that your own retirement account is created.
Ah,
Yeah.
they set you up. See, the stock market is just like the sheep farm. They set you up. They set you up. They get you put your money in there. Oh, you're going to put it all in there. And it builds and builds and builds. And all of a sudden, it's gone. Just like the sheep, right? Their hair builds all over the year and they take them and take off all the hair and the sheep comes out looking naked. Well, that's what the financial structure is kind of set up to shear the sheep. Like,
Okay.
right before the crash in 29, all the
Yeah.
wealthy elite got out, right? And then they pulled the plug, crashed the market, and then they bought in at pennies on the dollar, whereas the people got the shearing. So it's the same thing they do. So that's why like real physical assets like silver or real
Mhm.
estate and learning that. Now you can make money, being a trader in the market,
Mhm.
but you got to be realistic on what's really going on, right? Because
Mhm.
if you don't understand that there are guys behind the scenes using the derivatives to manipulate everything,
Mhm.
and you actually believe, the market. But if you know what you're doing, you can do that. It's really difficult though. But at least you know that putting your money in the market is basically a speculative gamble, and it's
Yeah.
designed to shear you. And you can, if you know what the rich guys do, and you connected, you can do their scam on the way up and pull out and get out before you get nailed. But you got to know that. And if you're and it takes a little bit of education. And it's not that hard, if you just educate yourself, you can find it. You can find those people and you can just kind of follow along and get the benefit from that if you want to go that route. But it just requires that perception. That's what critical thinking skills are so important. And there's different, and you have to learn critical thinking skills. And it's a lot harder than riding a bicycle.
That's right. And they're doing their best to make sure you don't have that information and you don't have those resources. And I agree that real estate, and especially land too, like not only just like physical real estate that like buildings, but also the land that you can produce wealth from.
Crops. Crops and cattle and chickens and growing food. Having that's solid, because then then you're not in there. If you can create your own food, grow your own food and sell a little bit on the extra, and you have a house and it's and it's not a polluted area, like you're not living near Palestine, Ohio. East Palestine, Ohio. Yeah, life could be better for you. And you got to be careful. There's places like in the Columbia Valley and other places where they've done, pollution, nasty pollution is going to be around for centuries. You kind of have to like research to make sure you're not in a zone where, where we have things like they had a place here in Denver. They had a radium factory.
Oh man!
Back, for you guys may not remember, radium. They used to have these radium watches because it's so radioactive. They put it with a little phosphorus and it glows this green light. That's because it's really got radiation. And so they used to put it in watches and all other things. And this is, back over a century ago when they didn't really understand things like that. And they had a radium factory. They used to the women would paint the watches. And sometimes they'd lick the brushes so they make them sharp. Obviously they didn't live very long. But they had like a big site there that they obviously was terribly contaminated. They covered it up. Finally, they made them go and dig it up, this trench it was like in the middle of. But if you didn't know that, you could have had a house there. We have rocky flats where they used to make plutonium weapons, and they're building houses like right down the street from where it used to be. I'm saying, sorry guys, it's just like I knew some of the researchers out there. There's like they're old guys, they're just going, what are they doing? The people have no idea that they're buying radioactive property, but they're selling it to them. So you have to be careful, because they're not looking out for you. You have to look out for yourself and to make your own decisions. Be your second or third opinion. I mean, it's great to get, experts and all that, but you got to, keep that cognitive thing running, because, they're working for who? Are they working for you? Or are they working for somebody else? And, so it's just, part of that critical thinking skills.
Absolutely. And I mean, man, you've covered so much. There's so much out there that you need to learn, that the people listening, there's tons of information that has been hidden from us. And so if you can find the places where you can learn about these things, from, how to be careful around your health, how to really get control of your wealth, how you can find the right community of people that can continue to educate you. That's critical in this point in time right now, because I think we're in this period of history that is unprecedented in the fact that we have so much pressure on us, but we have so much information, we have so much potential that we can truly rise out of the ashes that we find ourselves in. And so it's people like you, Ken, who I'm really excited to be discussing with and doing work with, because you get it, you see the vision, you implement it as well. And so I appreciate you. I appreciate having you on the channel, because you continue to shine the light and continue to do the good work. And we could talk for hours and hours about all this stuff. And I would love to, and I want to keep doing that
in the future. Yeah, but remember, I believe in the China, the icon for crisis is also can be used for opportunity.
Yes,
so
that's right.
What we see as a crisis is actually an opportunity for better health, wealth, and everything else. If you know what you're doing, if you know where you are, it's because people make money, market going up, market going down. Social conditions can be bad, but if you really understand what's happening, it could be good for you. So it's not like a need to despair or worry. If you understand where you are and and have an understanding of the pathway forward, you can benefit no matter what time it is. Even the worst of crisis or the best of times, you can still benefit and move forward and have a happy, useful life.
That is a great message. And I think the more that we can embody that, the more hope that we can find and information that we can continue to push and spread out there, the more knowledge we can share, the better off we have as a collective humanity to really make this change and navigate the change in a way where we can live the life that we're meant to down here on this, planet. So Ken, man, I so appreciate you coming on. I so appreciate you continuing your efforts in spreading truth and making the world a healthier place with your C60 Purple Power. And I'm really excited to be having this affiliate program with you guys so that, you know, the audience that we're building here can also gain the benefits of your amazing product with a little bit of a discount too. So
Yeah.
thanks for coming on, man. Is there anything else that you got to say before we get out of here?
No, but maybe go listen to your elders.
Yeah.
Go talk to your grandparents, your great grandparents around, and let them hear the stories of their lives and things like that, because they'll disappear one day. So kind of get that your personal history recorded, right?
Mm-hmm.
From your extended family. Learn that stuff. Learn about it. Don't stay in your young zone. Go out there and learn the history, because one day you're going to be the one transferring that history to the next generation. So that's kind of that's part of the cycle of life and things.
That's right. And that's what we hope to do here on this channel. We hope to bridge the gap between all of the knowledge of, you know, the past and, you know, all the technology of the future, and how we can come together in a way where we can live a more prosperous life. So anyway, Ken, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for spreading all the information that you do. And I'm excited to keep doing work with you. And until then, guys, if you're liking this content, make sure you like and subscribe this video to this video and this channel. Especially, you know, a lot of this conversation was probably taken to more of the alternative media spaces. So make sure to like and subscribe there. Share the information with the people who you think would benefit from it. Check out our website, where you can continue to find more information and resources that we're going to be posting, and join our email list too, because that's where we're going to be pumping a lot of people when, you know, the inevitable may happen where this channel might not exist, but we're going to still want to be connected with you guys. So with that, Ken, really appreciate you, man. Thanks for coming on.
I'm glad to be here.
Awesome, guys. Well, stay tuned for the next one, and we'll see you there.